can cook too. On top of the rest, my seafood's the best in town.
Yes, I can cook too. My fish can't be beat, my sugar Swiss around.
Oh, I'm a gal's ideal of a perfect meal, right down to the demi-tasse.
I'm a pot of joy for a hungry boy, baby. I'm cooking with gas.
Oh, I'm a gumdrop, a sweet lollipop, a brook right out of the brook.
And what's more, baby, I can cook. What's cooking, Park Ridge? Oh yeah!
Hi, my name is Trevor Dublin. I'm with PKRG-TV, and I'm honored to be here this afternoon with John Halligan from Park Steakhouse at 151 Kinnickermack Road, right here in Park Ridge. This beautiful restaurant is available for any occasion. Dinner, lunch, I mean, they serve amazing steaks. And John actually is going to show us today how to make an amazing steak that's been aged for 21 days. And he's going to show us how that occurs. But first, we want to hear a little something about John and his history and how he actually came to be right here in Park Ridge. So
well,
John,
thanks so much. Thanks for being here, obviously.
You're very welcome.
Well, I'm actually I'm a Hillsdale, New Jersey native. Grew up there and then graduated from Pascack Valley. Then I went to the CIA, which is Culinary Institute of America.
Love that place.
And graduated in 1982. I then traveled the world a little bit, was in New York for anywhere from 15 years and Los Angeles for another 5.
Wow.
And got married and had 2 children, decided to move back into the suburbs, and that's how we opened up the Park Steakhouse.
You got to pay the bills, right?
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
You got to pay the bills.
Myself and my partner, Randy Carson, we opened it up in about 2004. And knock on wood, we've been here for about 15 years now, and it's been great. We love the community, we love the town, we love the support. And knock on wood, it's been a great experience, especially being home close to my friends and family as well.
I know Park Ridge loves having you here, right?
Cool, sure.
And this is a really very, very popular restaurant.
Cool, yes.
And you're going to show us today how to make an incredible steak.
All right, so the thing about our restaurant and what makes us a little different than other restaurants, we consider ourselves a modern American steakhouse where we dry age our beef for over 21 days. Now, my philosophy when it comes to cooking is you need to start with the best product available before you even start cooking it. So what we do here at the steakhouse, which is also pretty popular in Chicago and New York and major cities, is dry age the beef.
Okay.
Okay, so here's 3 examples of our sirloin here that's been aged for 21 days.
Amazing.
Now you might ask, why do we age the steak for 21 days?
So John, why do you age the steak for 21 days?
All right, well there's a few reasons. Number 1 is to impart some flavor.
Okay.
Okay. The flavor of the piece of meat. The piece of meat sits in our refrigerator at a controlled temperature of anywhere from 36 to 38 degrees. Air circulates around it, and basically the meat itself starts to deteriorate.
Wow.
Now it's still, fine in reference to hygiene. There's nothing wrong with the actual piece of meat because it's in a controlled environment.
So we're not eating rotted meat.
No, you're not eating rotted meat.
So let's just
but what
be clear
you're doing
with that.
is you're imparting a flavor to the outside of the meat and the inside of the meat.
Okay.
You're also tenderizing the piece of meat as well. What happens is the moisture that's in the meat starts to go away.
Right.
It starts to melt away, leaving only the fat itself and the actual protein of the muscle itself. So what we do is we start with a good piece of CAB, which is certified Angus beef, which is a very high-end piece of meat, and we dry age it for 21 days. So I'll show you how I butcher that, but a key to a good steak, I don't know if your camera can see this, is that a piece of meat has a true marbleization in the center of the piece of meat. And you can see these little white specks on there, and that's what we're looking for. In a few minutes, I'll show you how we get to that.
Okay.
And this is all trimmed, okay?
So where do you get your meat from? And do you purchase the meat yourself?
We do. We purchase it from a supplier that I've had for close to 25 years. Wow. I've been a chef commercially for 30 years now. I was in New York, like I had said, and I use a company called the Bragger and Splitler.
Okay.
And they're a purveyor of fine meats and stuff like that. And I've never changed the specs in 20 years or 15 years since we've been here. So the key to this, again, if you could see it, it's all aged. It's got a nice crust on the outside.
Yes.
You really want to smell it as well. And that's this flavor that we're imparting
Yeah, it
in the
smells
meat.
beautiful.
Okay, so what we're going to do is this is on the bone. Okay, you can send, this is from the sirloin of the animal. When I point to here, that's what it is the sirloin.
Right.
And what we're going to do is we're going to butcher it. And I've kind of taken the steps to do it a little bit faster. And basically, you're going to take it from off the bone. Okay, and then you're going to take your knife, and we're going to run it down the side here. And hopefully, it'll come off the piece of meat like that.
That's fascinating.
Okay, so now this is the bone and the piece of meat that was aged. This is leaving us now just with the actual flesh of the animal or the center cut of the sirloin. Okay, now from this, just be careful there, is we're gonna trim the steak.
Look how nice and easy that cuts, actually,
yeah,
right?
it's like butter. It's
Right.
like butter because
Beautiful.
there's so much fat in the eye of the animal. Just watch yourself. We're going to trim the fat. And you can see the meat starts to show. We trim all the muscle or the sinew that runs around the outside, which tends to
look
make
at that.
it.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, if you could start to see all the fat that's in there,
Right.
it is like butter. And that's what's hopefully going to make it tender, which it will.
Now, they teach you all this stuff at the CIA. Now, I got to tell you,
Yes.
I fell in love with the CIA in high school. That's a long time
yeah.
ago. But it's an amazing place, right? They teach you everything. You want to tell us just a little something about?
Well, I graduated in 1982. It's
Yeah.
at the school from 1982 till now it's like an amazing school in reference to where it's been and where it's come from. It's a school that teaches you just how to cook. You know, I wish they would have taught me a little bit more about some other things, but for the most part, you know, we go through your first few years, you go through the early stages, vegetables and stocks and broths and stuff like that. Then the second year, you go into more high end where you get to travel in all the restaurants.
Right.
The chefs that were there that I learned from, you know, I can't say enough about it. The training I got was unbelievable. And to this day, I still look back and it's amazing what a great training it was.
It's really a very exciting experience. It's a great day trip, right,
Oh,
for
yeah,
you and your family.
There's
I mean, you can
7
actually
restaurants up there now,
and you can, and as you go through the school,
Yep.
you see the students cooking,
Yep,
right,
yep,
and you
exactly,
can actually eat
Yep.
what they prepare. It's just.
I don't want to brag about the CIA, but
okay.
some of the best chefs in the United States
And
right
we want to
now-
brag about you, but
No, no,
yeah,
no, no, no,
yeah, go ahead.
But anyway, a lot of them all came from the CIA. There's David Burke, Alfred Petrali, Anthony Bourdain's from the CIA,
Right.
Greg Alters, who's out in Chicago, is
Amazing.
voted one of the best. You know, a lot of great chefs have come out of the CIA. It's a great school. It's
And
unbelievable.
and obviously
No,
you're
no,
one
no,
of
no,
them.
no, no.
Because
But
you know,
anyway,
I know that you've been rated very, very high by the is it Zagat?
Zagat,
Zagat,
yeah.
right?
Glenwood, yeah.
And also the New York Times, right?
Yeah,
Has
yeah,
spoken
we've
very
been
well of
pretty
you.
lucky,
And
yeah.
so you know, it's in this
Right.
meat world, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Partially
yeah.
meat
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Well,
quite a
for me
competition.
personally, I've always loved what I've done, and you know, as a chef, you have to put a very big commitment. It's it's grueling hours, but if you love what you do,
Right.
it's been very easy for me. I've loved being here at the steakhouse. Again, the town's been great with us.
Yeah.
So many of the locals come in all the time. I feel part of their family. And it's been a pleasure to cook for them, and it's been a pleasure to serve them all these
Right,
years.
right.
It's really been nice.
So let's get back
Okay.
to the meat, and we're going to talk a little bit more because I want to hear about your team. I want to,
Okay.
I want to hear about what goes into making a great restaurant, right?
Oh, all
Because,
right. You can do that.
But you're going to tell me a little bit something more about that.
All right, so
later.
what we're going to do here is we trimmed, we want to leave a little bit of fat cap
Awesome.
on there, and then from the start here, we're going to start cutting our steaks that we're going to serve now in
So
the
this
dining
is
room.
all meat. There's no bone anywhere in
No
there,
more
right?
bone, all the meat, all the trim has been taken off, and you can see now, again,
Wow.
you can see just the fat that runs through the meat. There's no moisture in there. That's going to be, when you cook that, it should be so tender. And again,
Like butter,
the color
as
of the
they
meat,
say.
I mean, the smell of the meat is
Yes.
just beautiful. You know?
Beautiful.
So that's what we're looking for. Now we also have the other cuts of meat I didn't show you, but we also serve here, porterhouses. Porterhouse includes the sirloin and the fillet. It's a pretty popular cut. You get a little bit of both. We also have our cowboy steaks, which is like a ribeye steak, but a cowboy steak comes from a smaller animal, and they call it a cowboy because the cowboys used to eat it out on a range. But it's a smaller eye, but a lot more tender, and that's what we call our cowboy steak, which is a ribeye steak. And of course, the ever popular filet mignon. Filet
go.
mignon, which is the most tender piece of
So
the animal.
why is this most, like, when you go to a restaurant, it's usually the most expensive, right?
Okay, the way that these steaks are thing, it all depends on where they come from the animal. If the animal's moving like this, there's muscles on the shoulder and in the leg. All these cuts come from places in the body of the animal, of the thing, that doesn't have muscles.
Gotcha.
This has a small one, which is the sirloin, and the ribeye, which is the ribs, but this filet mignon comes from underneath the ribs, inside the animal, and never has a muscle in it. So it's the most tender piece of meat.
Beautiful.
Purists will say, like myself in reference to meat, that has no flavor, but it's the most tender. So I think a good steak or a sirloin like this has the most flavor, but people say this is the most tender, but they'll fight about that. So
That's amazing.
it's all
So I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So when you go to a restaurant, some people like their meat well done, some people like it rare. I
Right.
mean, what's the best sort of way to eat, a steak like this and enjoy
no question about it. Anywhere from rare to medium rare should be the, when we serve a rare steak in the restaurant, it's usually a little cold in the center. Medium rare has a lukewarm, medium has a little more hotter medium. Me personally, and all the chefs you'll talk to, anytime you cook something over medium, which is medium well to well done, you're basically cooking all the flavor out of it, and you're cooking and it just tends to be tough.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's sitting under the broiler, losing every bit of moisture and things. So answer your question.
So if you're going to spend the money on this, you want to be able to taste it and enjoy the quality.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
So I thought we'd, cook you a few steaks and then maybe go out and have a nice glass of wine.
Sounds great to me. I
and,
can't wait.
We can try it.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
So not everybody's into steak, right? So I know you offer, other fare.
We
here,
do. We have
right?
a pretty large seafood selection. The fish comes in every day. We have anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 different pieces of fish on the menu at any given time.
So do you have somebody that drives the fish up here?
We do, yeah. Peter's Fish Market, which is
serious?
actually a local boy, and
Really?
he's in Wyckoff there.
Wow.
He comes in there, yeah. And then we have a big lobster tank over there that we put all the lobsters in every day.
Wow, okay.
Plus we have raw seafood, clams, oysters, crab meat, shrimp, tuna tartare, a bunch of different stuff that we have on the menu as well. And, so you can get, again, we're not just known for the meat, if you like.
Nice.
And then we're going to put that on the outside of the meat, both sides. We're going to have a sirloin for dinner today.
Wow.
And then we'll also cook everybody a nice porterhouse. Yeah.
It's going to be incredible.
So what we do now is we have a broiler here that's close to anywhere from 500 to 800 degrees. And here you can see we have a veal chop on order already for tonight. And we're going to throw that on the fire here.
Wow. Now, how long are you going to cook this for, John?
Well, it depends on the temperature. So I'm going to cook them about medium rare.
Okay.
Now the next thing is you want super, super hot heat. And what happens is the piece of meat gets this crust on the top and a crust on the bottom after we turn it off. And that's another classic steakhouse because you want it to almost form a crust on the outside. So when you cut through with your knife, inside will be the nice juicy steak. So that's what we're doing. That's why this broiler has to be so hot.
Awesome. So tell us a little something about, I guess, the type of wine that would go with a steak like this.
Well,
to bring out the
usually,
best flavor?
for years and years, everybody thinks a nice, heavy, strong, tannic Cabernet. But you see a lot of people now drinking maybe a little lighter Pinot Noir or maybe a Merlot, something like that. I prefer those but big, strong red wines usually go well with red meat.
Awesome.
So we sell a lot of it. We have a pretty good wine list of maybe about 150 bottles. They range anywhere from a lot of house wines we have, a lot of California wines, and we do have some big, strong ones, the Camus and some other big bodied wines on our list as well. So.
Now you got a wine cellar here. Now is that
We
the
have a
name
wine
of part of the restaurant, or is that an actual wine
we have
cellar?
a basement downstairs, which we call our wine cellar, and we store a lot of wine in all the cabinets downstairs, as well as we have another storeroom downstairs in the bottom here that houses a lot of the wine as well.
Right.
Plus, we have a lot of wine on the shelves outside. We go through a pretty good amount of wine here.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
So you're going to show us, I'm sure, you know, how you age everything in the back. We'll get a chance to walk through
Sure, if you
some of
like,
the
yeah.
refrigeration process, and
Sure.
it'll be very, very interesting, I know, for the viewers out there.
Sure, yeah.
Because, you know, this is, I'm sure, not how many of us cook our steaks at home,
Right.
but
Well, it's the best
it's
way.
quite fascinating.
No, but let me show you here. Now you should be starting to get a crust on the meat here. And we're going to just, for purposes, get a little mark on it. We have a veal chop on order, so that's going to go. And again, it's getting extremely hot in there. Now if I could,
Incredible.
you know, I have gentlemen here, Angel and Sergio, come here for a second. You know, we've been very lucky here. We've had two of my best employees here, been with me for so long. Come here, Angel.
Hey guys, how we
Angel
doing?
is
Hi,
the
nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Angel.
And Sergio.
Hi, Sergio. How you doing? Welcome.
These guys are the ones who work the broiler, and that's the toughest job in the kitchen. And you think about it, if you have,
you get
let's
the heat
say,
literally.
Exactly. Yeah, but think about it. If you do, like, let's say 150 to 200 dinners, and 75% of them are steaks.
Yeah.
And then think about it, every single customer has a different temperature, rare, medium rare, medium rare.
Yeah.
It's a very tough job, and these guys pull it off every night.
That's
so
great.
Very fortunate to have
You know, I can tell you're a good boss.
Uh-huh.
The demeanor of your staff.
Yeah. Well,
Great
they're good
smile.
guys. They've been
Yeah,
with me a long
really,
time,
really
and I hope
awesome.
they stay with me forever, yeah.
It's
It's
great.
been a lot of fun. Angel, I'm going to give you this pretty soon, notice. You know, and then we're going to have a...
I'm sorry, I
You
don't
can
know where
see
to
it's
stand
getting
here.
a nice crust on it.
Oh my gosh. Incredible.
That's about 48 ounces, by the way. That's about a 16-ounce sirloin as well.
So John, tell us now, what are you going to serve with this steak?
Okay, so tonight I thought we'd just have some nice bunch of different vegetables. We grill some asparagus, cream spinach is a traditional.
Now you don't grow this stuff in the backyard
I
somewhere.
can't do
right?
that, no, but
Okay,
it all comes in fresh. We make it fresh every day. We also have what we call Mother Halligan's famous mashed potatoes, which is on the menu.
Sounds special.
And that was a recipe from my mother,
Oh, that's
who
so cool.
many years ago used to make us mashed potatoes and always had lumps in it. And my father would sit down at the table and go, Agnes, there's lumps in the mashed potato. So now
it is. There it is.
Now I made it.
That's it. Intentional.
Now it's prime time.
I love it. I love
exactly,
it.
Exactly, yeah.
So mom was obviously inspiration
She
behind
was,
you
yeah.
becoming.
She was, yeah. Come from a big Irish family. We all sat down and ate a lot of meat. And no, without her, it was very fortunate. She was a very good cook, yeah.
That's great.
So, yeah.
That's great.
She didn't know the other part of the business, but she knew how to feed a rather large family, so that was most important. So
That's great. So what do you like about Park Ridge? You know, just the type of clients you get. You find that you serve more steak than
Well,
seafood,
I'll tell you something,
because not everybody obviously.
Right.
We did a show on vegans recently,
Right.
which is amazing as well. So we got to
I found that the Park Ridge people are a little more sophisticated palate. I think a lot of them might work in Manhattan, or because it's so close, and they're kind of used to really, good food. And I think a sophisticated palate. For me personally, I raised two children who actually work here on weekends and stuff. They're
Wow.
both in college now. And it's been a beautiful place to grow up with my kids and my family, and of course reconnect with all my friends. So it's been nice because I grew up here, and now I'm back as an owner of a restaurant. So we
great.
also own another restaurant too.
Oh, you do. Where
we
is that?
also own a Park West Tavern, which is in Ridgewood, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
And that's a tavern, but we still serve the same kind of steaks. So.
Okay, awesome. So what are your hours of operation here at
We're open-
151? Yes,
Yeah.
Kinderkamak.
We're open 7 days a week. We're open only 5 days for lunch, Monday through Friday, but dinner 7 days a week.
Awesome.
We open around 4 o'clock. So
Good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Awesome.
we have a full bar, you can get any kind of cocktail, martini, whatever, and of course we have a pretty extensive wine list. So
Great.
Yeah.
So
Let's take a look at the meat,
it
yep.
smells like it's cooking. Ooh,
Oh, there we go.
there it is.
That's perfect.
Awesome. Wow.
Yep. So I'm going to do some cream spinach, some mashed potatoes, some asparagus, and what else? That should be good, right? And then we'll sit down. Do you care for a salad as well? We have a pretty big salad.
Yeah. So you're going to show us how to make the mashed potatoes and.
Oh no, I wasn't
Wanna
going to
go-
show you that. Those are already made.
Oh,
I
those
could
are
have
already
earlier.
made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Chef, this is an incredible feast that you've prepared here for us.
Beautiful.
We have Lori, who's joining us, Fredericks. And if you want to just tell us just what we have,
All right.
what
Well,
we're looking at
we
here.
we usually start the meal with salad. We have 3 salads on the table tonight. We have a what we call our chopped salad, which has fresh Bibb lettuce, plum tomatoes, onions, and cucumbers.
Delicious.
It's all mixed together, and we put a nice buttermilk blue cheese on top. A lot of people use that, share that. We also can have it for 2. Here's an iceberg salad, a wedged iceberg with candied bacon on top, and like a honey ranch dressing on the bottom.
Candied
And
bacon.
Candy bacon. Well, the bacon is actually roasted, and then we toss it in honey and maple syrup and other stuff, and it's rather sweet. Okay.
Delicious.
And over here we have another traditional sort of steakhouse salad, which is our Bibb salad, which is fresh Bibb, plum tomatoes. Again, this is just roasted bacon this time, and that's with a champagne vinaigrette, and again blue cheese. So we also have some bread that we make here. We make our own Parmesan crisps, which is focaccia bread, Romano cheese, and chili flakes. So it's got a little bit of thing. And our main course here, which we kind of went over earlier, which is our sirloin right here, which is the one I butchered in the back, which is a dry-aged New York sirloin. And here's our porterhouse. Usually the porterhouse is served for 2 people. You have the sliced sirloin on the one side and the filet on the other side. And they're both accompanied by what is a black garlic butter. And you basically take that and you take a little bit of butter out and you spread it on your steak.
How creative is that?
Yes.
Yeah, very creative.
So, now black butter is, or fermented black butter is garlic that sits in an oven at a temperature of around maybe 95 for like 5 days.
Wow.
And basically it never gets above a certain temperature and just roasts, and then thus making the garlic very sweet. So it's a very sweet garlic butter.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I know we can't wait to try it.
Beautiful,
And
yeah.
you're going to join us as well?
Yes,
of
I'd love
course?
to. And then we do. We have wine, and our waiter Tim Simmons is going to pour us a wine.
I'm pouring an Arrowwood Cabernet Sauvignon, 2015 vintage, from Sonoma Valley. It's a well-structured and rich wine with tastes of blackberry and plum and undertones of vanilla.
Okay. All right, so before I usually drink a glass of wine, or what the normal procedure would be, is you want to do a few things before you actually drink the wine to see if it's what you exactly want. So first thing I always look for is the color of the wine, okay? You want to look at the color, you want to see the density, how it rolls around the side of the glass. At the same time, I'm incorporating air into the wine. The wine was just opened maybe a few minutes ago, so when you incorporate a little bit of air to it, it kind of opens up the wine a little bit. All right, so I'm kind of looking at the wine. It looks like a nice color. The next thing is to smell the wine, okay? And you don't just kind of smell like this. You really want to get your nose in there and really give it a good smell to it, because what you're looking for is the fruit. Okay, what I smell right off the bat is, like you said, blackberries. I smell black cherries, boysenberries. I smell a really strong kind of cherry note to it. Okay, now the next part, which is the final, is the actual tasting of it. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing in my mouth as I did to the glass. I'm incorporating air to it, which again locks in and opens up the wine. Okay, so I taste a lot of, like I said, black cherry, blueberries, very fruity forward.
Wow.
There's a little bit of tannic in the back. Tannic is the sharpness that you feel in the back of your throat. I'm tasting a little bit of that. That should go really well with both the red steak and the sirloin that we're serving. So I approve of the wine and your description. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hopefully you'll feel the same way.
Now, I noticed that when you pour the wine, you don't pour it all the way to the top,
Right.
which probably I would have done. But,
Yes, yeah.
but
Okay.
Are we
it's
supposed to like also do this a little bit?
You can a little bit, give a little air in there. And
And we're
first we got
allowed
to
to
toast each other
Oh,
before we
right.
do it. And thank you all for coming to the
there you
Park
go.
Steakhouse tonight. Appreciate it.
amazing.
We love Park Ridge and we
Thank you,
appreciate all their
Thank you.
business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
very-
Trevor.
thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Any kind of keep just letting it air. This is not a very, very strong tannic. You see it kind of goes away real quick. The little stronger wines, the heavier wines will stay in the back of your throat for a much longer time. Yeah, berries, right? Yeah.
So good.
Like I said, you stick your
Delicious.
nose right in there and you really kind of get a feel for what you're drinking. Okay?
It's great.
Oh,
You
it
know?
smells great.
Yeah, very fruity. Good explanation, Tim. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Great
Excellent.
Yeah.
suggestion.
So I always, again, you know, people over the years will always say a heavier red wine with red meat. Again, you know, yes, it does tend to go very well. Hopefully you guys will agree. But there are lighter, fruitier wines, Merlots, Pinot Noirs, something that might go just as well with a steak, you know. So please
Awesome.
try it. And let me
Awesome.
know if yeah.
Ladies first.
Okay, so I just grab all the pieces.
We also, I don't know if we noticed that, like 4 times a year, we have it's probably pretty famous in the town here. A lot of people is what they call a beefsteak dinner, and it's a big dinner we throw 4 times a year where we just put slabs of meat on the middle of the table, a bunch of salads, and it's got a nice little following to it. Place is packed out. It's
Really?
fun. So if they
When
check.
is that?
Now, when is that?
Well, we schedule it 4 times a year. If they check our website at www.thepark Steakhouse, you'll see it on there. And all our upcoming, we also do wine dinners. We also do specialty dinners. We did a Italian night. We've done a seafood night, a lobster night. So,
Lobster
you know,
night, I have to come
yeah,
back.
lobster night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we have
So-
a bunch
see,
of
you
stuff
know-
going on.
One of the things I've noticed here, it's a very family atmosphere. It's,
Oh, sure. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
your staff has been here for a number of years, right? I
They
mean,
have. Timmy's been with us many, many years here. We feel very fortunate. You know, no restaurant, you know, is successful without the people that are in it. I feel very fortunate. I've been here 15 years. A lot of my guys have been here with me 15 years.
Wow.
I can't say more than that. You know, they're incredible employees. We feel very fortunate. To run a business, you obviously have to be, you know, have your direction and which one to aim. But these guys have done a great job for us over the years. And I feel a lot of people come in all the time, ask for certain waiters, and it's, you know, it's been nice.
That's good. Continuity.
Yeah, yeah,
Excellent.
so.
All right. So let me help yourself, huh?
Please do.
So this is T-bone.
That's a porterhouse, which is
porterhouse.
T-bone's the next slice down after this,
okay.
but this has a larger fillet and a sirloin, and this is just your sirloin. So we just butchered this steak. Timmy, maybe we can have those sides there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so
So
tender.
delicious.
Like that. And if you want, you can put some of this fermented.
Yeah, I'm going to try this fermented butter. Oh, thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Amazing.
Thank you. That's right. Thank you.
And you grilled these asparagus.
Yeah, we grill them. Olive oil, salt, and pepper. Now, do you taste the aged part of the meat? A little bit on the outside, a little smoky, almost kind of not barbecue. You know, when you throw something on a barbecue, that smoky flavor to it.
It's got a beautiful taste to it.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to compare the taste of these 2 different kinds of meat.
So we have to share this, Lori, with the rest of the crew.
Oh, absolutely.
Now this is you got to give a shout out to Mom because she's the reason you're here,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this is Mom's.
Famous, we call it lumpy mashed potatoes.
Isn't that something?
We also have a catering space downstairs as well. We can do parties anywhere up to about 80 people to 100 people, certain reception style. And that's in our wine cellar downstairs. So most people don't realize we have about 80 seats upstairs and we have another 80 seats downstairs. So we do a lot of parties downstairs.
So it's a big space you have here.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, this butter is so good on it.
It's a veal bone.
Oh.
And again, the more oxygen that the wine gets, the more the wine will open up. You give this another 5 minutes, and the berries will just pop out. You know, you'll start tasting, you know, a lot more fruit. It's fruit forward. I don't know if you heard him. Fruit forward compared to heavier, strong tannins in the back.
It's good.
Just delicious.
When I was in culinary school, this is what we had to do every night. It was kind of tough, you know. try
What a
wine.
tough life.
I know.
And then did everybody hit the gym? And
Yeah.
So what is this that we're having here? This is
That's cream
spinach.
spinach. Yeah, it's got
Delicious.
It's made with a tiny bit of nutmeg, cream, Parmesan cheese, and then it's roasted,
Delicious,
baked
yeah.
in the oven.
So do you sell more steaks than anything else here? Or
We do.
how
Our number one sellers are cowboy steak, and followed by the filet, and then the sirloin. Fish we do very well as well.
Try some of this as well.
So here's filet. If you want to try that, that's a little more tender. You'll see the
okay.
difference between the two.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me
that's
try
the
this.
filet. Here's a piece. Yeah. Oops. Here. Oops. Have that piece right there.
Thank you so much.
Watch how tender that is. We also pour butter over the
feels
top
tender.
of it too.
Now, how do you make this butter? This is quite interesting.
Well, the tough part about it is the garlic. We buy it from a farmer, and he grows the garlic, and then he basically, it's called black fermented garlic. The garlic goes in the oven, and it basically sits in there at such a low temperature that just keeps roasting and roasting. When we get it, it's actually the same color as the steak. And then when you peel it open, pull all the bulbs out, we puree it with some butter, salt, and pepper. But garlic tends to be, on a raw stage, very bitter. Like if you eat just garlic, it's like stays in your mouth forever because it's a raw texture to it, and garlic is very strong. But by roasting and fermenting it like this, takes that away and actually sweetens it. So it's a sweet garlic.
Delicious.
I'm sampling these salads. Well, this one has an amazing piquant kind of salad dressing. It's just delicious.
Well, this is absolutely amazing.
Should I pass this on to you?
Thank you so much. So I'm going to ask you the $1 million question. Do you cook at home?
I'm only home one day a week. And,
That's your day of rest, all
that's
right?
my day with my wife and family, so I tend a little bit.
Would you like some
you know,
salad?
A little bit. No, I'm good.
Okay, you good? Okay.
Yeah. I do a little bit, not a lot though. No. I've got a nice kitchen at home, a nice big commercial stove, and barely gets used. So.
It's great. So I think I'm going to try this. This is the honey bacon. Yeah, see. It's interesting.
There's a saying that
Thank
the
you.
Taylor's family gets doesn't have their clothes altered, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like
That's a
you don't
unique
get,
saying,
you don't
yeah.
get to use it.
I like that.
Myself and my partner have been here 15 years, and now we have our children working with us. It's a lot of fun. My son works as a busboy. My daughter's a hostess, and Randy's daughters and son have worked for us as well here. It's been nice to have a family kind of feeling to it. It's been nice for us. And we love Park Ridge. Park Ridge has been great for us. Whoops. James Gandolfini used to come in here all the time.
That's right. And I will always associate this restaurant with the reception that we had when Park Ridge named the street
Exactly.
after James Gandolfini.
Yep.
We had so many cast members from The Sopranos
Yeah.
here, and family members of James
Yep.
Gandolfini.
Wow.
So it was such a memorable
Yeah,
event. And so he would come in here.
Yeah. Earlier on, he would come in a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
We also have had, some Park Ridge people. We've had this used to be Tom Coughlin's famous, one of his favorite places, I think. Head coach of the Giants for years. A lot of sports celebrities. Harry Carson, Dwight Gooden was here, and then we've had our share of. He knows another local boy was Bill Maher from HBO.
Yes,
he
I
lived
was
right
gonna
down the road.
ask
Yeah,
you,
he
so
used to
Bill
come in
has
all the
come
time.
in?
Yeah, many
Wow.
times. Yeah. And Paul Reiser was just in. He was filming
Really?
something up the street there for.
Wow, love
Yeah.
Paul Reiser.
Yeah.
So anybody
fun.
who's anybody in Park Ridge
In Park Ridge.
comes to the Park Steakhouse.
Well, Chef, this was an amazing meal.
Oh, cheers! Yeah.
I mean, I'm just heard my mom said, "Don't speak with your mouth full," but just
But you have
just
to.
thank you so very very much. I mean,
pleasure.
this is incredible, and I know it's from our experience here this evening, we can tell that your heart is here.
Oh, good.
You have a very warm environment, warm team, amazing team. The food is delicious,
Good.
incredibly
Incredible.
delicious, incredible. So
But we
thank
already knew that.
That's right.
Well, thanks so much for having me today. It was a pleasure. My
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure, and thanks for having us. Cheers.
Cheers.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
This
You too.
meat is incredible.
Chef, I'm making a plate
Like I
for
would,
gentlemen.
this is
Thank
really,
you.
really tender on this stuff over here. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
You heard Timmy's explanation.
That's
He had to have 3 takes, but he finally got it.
I did 2 takes.
Oh, 2 takes. Yeah.
It doesn't matter just as long as you get it perfect.
No, I know.
So fresh.
Oh my God.
All right, I'm gonna leave you guys, okay?
All right.
Nice to meet you, Trevor. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank
Great
you
job.
so
Cheers.
much.
Yeah, cheers.
Thank you.
So my
Yeah.
pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Cheers. Cheers. Enjoy the rest of your dinner.
Oh my God, thank you.
And we got more wine.
We got
for you.
another bottle of wine for you guys.
What?
I'll leave it on the